Hello again, how are you? What have you been up to? I've been working on another assignment for class, but this time on human rights. Lots of people have heard the term human rights, myself included, but not many people know the details of what these things actually mean. It turns out the idea is a pretty recent one. The ideas really came from the atrocities, such as the Holocaust, which people experienced during the Second World War. Now, however, all of our modern ideas regarding human rights are contained in the International Bill of Rights, written by the United Nations. But did you know that this document actually has 3 parts? First is the oldest, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This part establishes what are called fundamental freedoms, things like the right to life and the banning of slavery. However, this document isn't legally binding. This means that none of its ideas can be enforced by law. To fix this, the United Nations passed 2 more documents. One is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or the ICCPR. This document states that people have the right to self-determination or the ability to determine their own political status. It states that people should have other fundamental freedoms: the right to a fair trial, freedom from arbitrary arrest, the right to vote. You get the idea. The other document, the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, or ICESCR, these politicians really love acronyms, is much more controversial than the previous. This document says that everyone should have the right to good working conditions, with the right to form unions. As well, people should be able to maintain an adequate standard of living, including food and clothing, as well as other details like social security. And unlike the first document, both of these can be enforced by international law, although sometimes it's not enough. What's more, all of these documents have been ratified by almost every signatory to the United Nations, meaning that almost everyone agrees that these are important. Sometimes, though, bad things happen, and people need to leave their homes. These people become refugees and asylum seekers, because they either need to leave their home country in order to protect themselves or their families. There are also several international organizations. I'm sure you've heard of some of these already, like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, which try to make sure that people get to enjoy these rights. For example, Amnesty International states that its objective is to end abuse of human rights by carrying out research in the field, as well as to demand justice for those whose rights have been violated. In 1977, it was even awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize for its campaign against torture. In the field of human rights, Amnesty has the longest history and name recognition. That is why I think many people believe it sets standards for the whole movement. What about you? Have you heard of any of these concepts before? What about the documents? You should try them in English. But if that's a bit too much right now, they've been translated into almost every language. Let us know what you think in the chat.